Hello. This is my first vlog. Welcome to Walk the Dog Cinema. And just thinking about an interesting journey. And what I'm doing here, just walking my dog and gonna talk about movies and just have a good time, just thinking about, you hit a certain mark, you start watching so many movies and you want to run over them again and flipping through your head. And I like discussing film and everything else that goes along with it. And in this day and age, how can you reach out, connect with people on it? And I was talking to my son, and he took a film class, and he's kind of like, Dad, you should really reach out and share your views, or just do something and take a snapshot of what you think of movies in today and age, or revisit some of your old ones that and record it, and then kind of look back on them, and maybe you can build a little community for yourself and see what other people like out there. So that's what I'm doing every time I come out here and take the dog for a walk, which I have to do daily. It's kind of a nice way of going over something that I've watched, or put it down, and then instead of putting it on paper or a website, just kind of record it and see what comes of it, and see what it can develop from it. Like to see what other people think of the movies I'm going to select to watch. I'm kind of going to go all over the place, all the way back to the silent era, see things that I haven't really seen before, or revisit stuff that I've watched a long time ago or that I have in my collection, and see what I think now, especially when you hit the century mark. You wonder, with movies, you think differently than when you're in your 20s with life experiences and stuff. We'll see what comes of it, but it should be an interesting journey here. So again, welcome to the very first order here. And so where to start, what movies to watch, kind of where do you want to go with this? And take it month to month for right now, but I kind of wanted to start in the 1950s. And you go, why the 1950s? And I'm thinking, well, heck, it's kind of the golden era of Hollywood. I'm not saying that new stuff is all really, really bad or anything like that. It's just, I don't know, it's kind of the full glamour of Hollywood. It's kind of always what it's been. It's right before the studio system kind of crumbled, and you get kind of the crazy 60s with lots of experimentation, the 70s, which just like went totally bonkers. And you kind of got the directors were kind of becoming king. You got the really hard underground, the 80s were the kind of flash and dash, and gave us a lot of like tentpole stuff. But I'd like to start in the 50s. You had the big stars. You had you still had Cary Grant out there. You had the start of Marilyn Monroe, James Dean, Marlon Brando. You still had Jimmy Stewart. You had John Wayne. You had your auteurs like David Lean, Alfred Hitchcock. So a lot to choose from, a lot to kind of maneuver around. And it's kind of like they say the golden age. And you had your special effects starting up right around there in the 1950s, where you had Ray Harryhausen starting with this sci-fi. You had the drive-in movies, so horror started really like making a comeback. And granted, they were like B films and stuff, but there's some really good stuff that I haven't watched. There's still a lot in the 50s that I haven't watched that I'd love to watch. And so I'm gonna be kind of doing a mixture. Hope you watch along, or let me know what you think of my picks. Hopefully you learn something, maybe, or just see something from a different perspective. I kind of run things really fast. My head goes all over the place sometimes, but I know there's some movies out there that I know I'm going to revisit already in my head for later dates, and kind of put my thought down, take a snapshot of those. So see if anybody gets surprised by what I choose or what I talk about. But yeah, let's get right into it. You know, kind of looking at it, and I wanted to just start 1950 right on the dot. And you know, you have quite a few movies to choose from. Kind of wanted to touch on something that I'd already seen, but haven't really watched in a long time, or kind of maybe see if I have a different thought about it. You know, I was thinking of Sunset Boulevard. I know the first time I watched it, I thought it was a little overrated, but I might touch upon that somewhere else and go down on that one. But I thought, well, you know, I really haven't watched Harvey, and I like James Stewart, but I didn't really kind of feel up on that one. You know, you have Cinderella from Walt Disney Studios. I've seen that 100 billion times. Great animation movie. Brought them all out, but I kind of didn't want to touch upon that one. And then so when I kind of came down to it, picked All About Eve. Kind of wanted to revisit that one. I haven't seen it in probably about 3 years, and even 3 years ago when I did watch it and got the Blu-ray, you know, you take it in for the first time, and to be frankly honest, a lot goes on in that movie for a movie that's really just talking. And I remember just kind of being blown away with the dialogue back then, but lots gone on in my life in the last years. Kind of wanted to retouch it, and I thought, you know what a perfect movie, you know, to kind of touch upon golden age of Hollywood. First movie to hit 14 Oscar nominations, and only been equaled since Titanic. So I thought, you know what, that one kind of hits it right there, you know. And then, you know, it has one of my favorite actresses, Bette Davis, in it. You know, nothing like hearing that husky voice just like coming out and just like, you know, taking control of the room. And then it has Ann Baxter, who, you know, if you don't really know her or anything, but she's from 10 Commandments. That's kind of the big one of hers. I know there's other ones that she's done. She's a big star back then. George Sanders, who won an Academy Award for Best Supporting in this movie. You know, once you hear his voice, you immediately know him, at least to me. I can't think of any movies off the top of my head at the moment, but like every time I hear his voice, I know it. You know, it's just like, oh, that actor. Thelma Ritter, who basically does her Thelma Ritter. You know, she's great supporting, always sardonic. You know, for Rear Window, she's kind of playing the same thing, taking care of Bette Davis. But yeah, so I'm going to touch upon that one and have fun with it. So sorry about that. When you walk a dog, you know, sometimes they take things, and you got to keep the environment clean, right? So, but getting back to it, you know, you should really check it out if you've never watched All About Eve. You know, I'm not gonna sit here and do, it's a 5-star movie, 10 out of 10. I'll let you kind of decide that. I kind of go off of the Roger Ebert stars, and all of that really kind of do a movie disservice, for me at least. You know, you can have a really bad made movie and it'd be entertaining as all heck, and really, first and foremost, that's what movies should be, is entertaining. I mean, it is an art form, but we should be entertained, right? And I think that's the big one with movies, is you can have really bad acting, you can have really bad directing, and somehow the movie entertains. Maybe the script is just decent enough, the plot just keeps moving forward, or maybe the director really just didn't have a budget, but they made it work, you know. And it doesn't have to be a 10 to be entertaining. I've had 10 movies, so to speak, where they are masterpieces, but man, I could only ever watch it once just because the material is just so darn hard to take. But you know, you saw something pretty amazing. It's just that second viewing, you just don't think it'll work the same way. So I'm not going to be touching upon that. I think my review of it will speak for itself. So, you know, if you've never seen All About Eve, take a look at it. It's a really, really fine piece of filmmaking. At the same time, I really think it brings out the 50s, but also resonates even in today's world. It's really about the women of the movie, but you know, about the backstabbing, how people step on each other to get ahead. And so, you know, those themes truly ring true still to this day. I don't think that's ever going to change, but I think if you watch it, you know, it really it holds a lot of value even to today. You know, it is about the theater. It's about this you know, young lady, Ann Baxter, named Eve, who really admires Betty Davis's character, and they're in the theater, and basically she kind of insinuates herself into Betty Davis's life, and then the plot just starts happening to unfold there, where everyone maybe not what it seems or is, and the backstabbing starts. We have a theater critic who thinks he's above it all and better than everybody else because he criticizes, and as you can see, anybody can be a critic, I'm sorry, you know, but it's still just, it really just rings so much truth within that spectrum. But I'm gonna get into some spoilers, so if you want to, you can stop the video now, watch the movie. If you've never seen it, come back, listen to it. I mean, if you don't mind spoilers and all that, that's fine. And then you can go on, but I just want to let everyone know that I do spoiler stuff, so because I am talking about themes and just kind of what impressed me, what I really caught the second time through, and you know, again, create a conversation so I can hear, you know, your comments below, see what you think about the film, any of your thoughts about the theme. Maybe I missed something. You know, I'm not a leading expert, I'm just a film fan, and I'd love to hear from everybody else, so go ahead and leave comments down below on all of that stuff, so as I get into this. So here we go. You know, the big one with All About Eve is the second viewing just as good as the first, no doubt about it. I remember the first. I didn't catch all the little details. I don't think I caught them all this time, but still, the writing is just top notch. Probably laughed a good 4 or 5 times, but that nice good laugh, but from sarcasm. It's not your typical humor, it's not the slapstick humor, but it's like this biting dark humor that just kind of, I don't know, rings true. Really just like digs in, and you know, people are kind of cutting each other down, but it's done so witty and so well that you can't help but kind of just guffaw at it and just kind of go with it. But Joseph Mankiewicz, who was the director and writer, did an amazing job writing this, and deserved all the credit that he got for winning the Academy Award for writing, if I'm not mistaken, and I think won it for directing. And though his directing is subtle, he definitely coached the actors, like, you know, a big part of it. Betty Davis is amazing in it. She creates a character that, I mean, stands the test of time, whether she's playing herself or not, or that realism is just outstanding. It's quite amazing in that regard, and to this day, like, I haven't seen her at her best quite like this, you know. And I've seen Ann Baxter better, to be truthful. Kind of a disservice. She got billing as a leading actress, but she really doesn't have much screen time in this one, though she does a great job, and her character really hangs over the balance of the whole movie. You know, I mean, it is all about Eve, and the movie definitely is that in her character. She's not on screen, though when she is, she does an amazing job, you know, and so it's amazing in that regard. You know, and the other thing with Anne Baxter's performance is you really see the change from beginning to end. To be honest, movie's like 2 hours and 15 minutes, 18 minutes, and she only probably is on screen maybe 30 minutes of it. But like I said, she hangs over the whole movie. I mean, every scene, her character is there. And so maybe that's what it was, especially back then. Like, you think about her character and you don't think of it as Anne Baxter. I mean, you do think about it as Eve. And so that part of it, it does resonate. But I think it has more to do with the script than just the actress in and of herself, though she's great. Thelma Ritter, when she is in it, especially the beginning. And then there's a great part with her, Bette Davis, and Anne Baxter, where she's cutting Eve down without any words, but just the looks on her face, and just how she kind of bullies her way into situations, bumping Eve, Anne Baxter, and just kind of giving her those looks, really steals it from the two actresses. She's in her maid outfit, so when you do see that scene coming up, I don't know, that was one scene that I kind of missed the first time, where this time I really caught, and I really got to see Thelma Ritter's acting in that regard. And without, like I said, any words, it's really great to see an actor really use their body language and their facial expressions to such degrees that you kind of remember their performance in that regard. But she has some great stuff at the beginning that just made me laugh. I mean, it's just really biting humor. Again, we have a part where Marilyn Monroe shows up, and you can kind of see it. This was like her first movie break. She shares the screen with all the ladies of the film, and does a really good job with it, and carries her part. It's the ditzy blonde, schmoozing up to everybody and looking for a way into the industry. There is a payoff with her character with an audition that Anne Baxter comes into and kind of does from a setup with Margot's character, which is Bette Davis, that her best friend, who's the playwright, Hugh Marlowe, that kind of really sets all of it in motion. That creates a lot of guilt with Bette Davis's friend. I love how all that plays out. I mean, we're still working with the American Code at this time, so people who do bad have to have their comeuppance. People who kind of change their spots get the happy ending. I think Joseph Mankiewicz does a great job of navigating that. Especially at the end there, with Margot kind of releasing the burdens for one of the characters, and how Anne Baxter character Eve kind of gets her comeuppance at the end, though it is played very darkly. It isn't a downright evil thing that happens to her, but turn around as fair play in this sense. So I'd be curious to see what everyone thinks of the ending. I mean, I like it. I mean, obviously, it's kind of a great payoff, but in one sense, in terms of how the movie's going within its realism and all that, you kind of just go, okay, it's a little bit of a fantasy aspect to it that needs to be done to Eve. And I think already her life was kind of caged, and she had caged herself already because of George Sanders' character, how she's set up, and she's a parasite, and he's a parasite, George Sanders' character, and he's just manipulating and controlling every conceivable aspect of Eve at the end here. And because she was kind of conceivably doing that to everybody else at the very beginning. And that's the key that I really picked up on the second time, that I don't know how I missed on the first time, but really kind of watching it, and you really see, got me thinking, like, when does Eve's kind of plot manifestation kind of like start going? Is it the very beginning, or was it more or less, you know, at a point she sees a chance to take and then she goes for it? You know, it might be a combination of the two, but, you know, sadly within our society, or just in general within this, you know, she kind of really sociopathic. I mean, she doesn't care about anyone, and that's how it plays out. And then, you know, kind of destroys her own world. And even without the George Sanders character, she, you know, it really kind of dawned on me, like, wow, she's a really sociopathic character. Like, it's not psychotic or anything in what we think, but she is self-destructive. She is very, you know, she plays off that she can handle people, but she doesn't really read people as well as she thinks she does. So that was kind of one of those things that I think kind of tripped me out with it. You know, it does get that deep with that movie. There is a lot of talking, like I said, but man, it moves, really moves. And, you know, listen, you know, I know a lot of people I've talked to have talked about, like, oh, the old movies are slow, or they're you know, they don't have as much action. And, you know, I think of directors in this day and age like Quentin Tarantino and Christopher Nolan, and, you know, I don't know about you, but for me, you know, they're all about talking. Like, you know, their movies are 2.5 hours, and talking is everything. So to say that I wouldn't watch All About Eve because it's black and white and there's a lot of talking, well, if you're into those, I don't know how you can't sit through this one. This one has so much energy from the acting that seems rather easy to watch. And, you know, guys like that are directing nowadays or writing, you know, learn from this. So, yeah, I think it's a solid choice. Again, looking at it, you know, it's tight, and then, you know, I'd be curious to hear what everyone else thinks, but, you know, I really enjoyed it the second time. I think, you know, it's one of those that I definitely could watch, you know, several more times for sure. I have it in my collection, you know, especially taking a gander at it every couple years, just so the dialogue gets cleared out of your head a little bit. You know, you can appreciate it. Just great acting, a great plot, and just biting humor. So enjoy it. Well, coming to the end of my walk here. My dog's all happy about it. She's had a great time. I hope you have too. Start touching upon more movies. Try to get up 3 of these a week, you know, just discovering. I am gonna pick a movie from 1951 now, and kind of want to check out the Lavender Hill Mob, Alex Guinness. I've never seen it, heard things about it. I love Alex Guinness. You know, besides him just being Obi-Wan Kenobi, I love him in The Bridge Over the River Kwai. So I'm curious. I've heard stuff about this. I'm a sucker for heist movies, so I'm going to be enjoying it, or not enjoying it, but we'll see. So have a good one, everybody. Leave again your comments below and what you thought of the film, anything that I may have missed, or any discussions. And if you like what you see so far and want to continue on, just hit the subscribe button, and let's start a community. Have a good one.